back to Gnostic Yape, a show dedicated to some of life's tougher truths. I'm your host, Don Jivas. Now, if you can read, then you know today's show is about the mass media in the United States. What is the mass media, you might be asking? Well, stupid, I'm glad you asked. The mass media companies like these companies. Companies like these relay information in every conceivable way, whether by TV or iPad on the toilet. Companies like these are generally referred to as influencers. Influencers are basically media companies that are so big they determine the narrative for all lesser media companies. For more insight on this, we turn to our very own Gnostic Ape. Gnostic, come on in, sir. Papa Primate, show us the good stuff. Where you at? Yes, young man, I'm here. Tutti frutti. For the uninitiated, the media's intended purpose has been to educate its citizens on how to live in a democracy and serve as a check on governmental power. Instead, what we get is Kim Kardashian's plastic ass telling us what to buy.
Yeah, I'm super excited about being super famous for having sex on tape and buy Kanye's clothes.
In 1983, 90% of the US media was controlled by 50 companies. As of 2012, 90% is controlled by just 6 companies. If this trend continues, what do you think will happen? Do you think diversity of thought is bad? If you answered yes, you're probably not watching this. No. You're probably the type of primate who enjoys it when the toilet paper breaks and your finger slides up your asshole. Filthy animals. Media works in many different ways, usually pulling at emotional heartstrings or appealing to tribalism to accept messages even if we aren't interested in them. Ever found yourself watching a news segment and not understanding why the reporters are so worked up about something? It's referred to as a false narrative, and at its core it's essentially psychological sleight of hand, a distraction. See also bullshit. The mass media's purpose is to keep you buying things, and thereby instilling a belief that you are part of the in-group, while at the same time keeping you fearful of being ostracized and put into the out-group. In a democracy, as we stated, the media's primary purpose is to be a check on governmental power. If you're too young or too stupid to know what the Watergate scandal was, well, fucking go look it up. Assuming you're too lazy to do that even, I'll tell you that it was an event where the press outed the President of the United States as a crook, forcing him to resign.
Well, I'm not a crook.
Yes, you clearly are. Instantly, America's trust in media at the time was at its all-time highest. Flash forward to today's 24-hour news cycle and you have thematically tuned music for war coverage, reporters, coaching panelists.
America's great. All right, so I want to ask you, what was it about Hillary Clinton's argument that resonated with you following Donald Trump's defense of the video?
She stated that America is already great.
Great because we are good.
America's great.
Great because we are good.
Reporters bickering like school children.
One of the issues. One second. No, you're going to reply. You're actually going to.
Reporters bickering like bitches.
So you were this outrage when the Bush administration was downgrading all of their investigations.
And reporters generally bickering.
Chad,
Camille,
let me talk, Carol. Translate that for us. I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Well, if you would let me talk.
Once again, not
Andy, I've spent more time overseas than you ever have in your little life. So don't tell me about
how you know what my job is.
Okay, how much time have you spent overseas?
Plenty of time.
How much time have you spent in Australia?
You listen to the answer, please. You said no. And I was following on with an explanation of why we were opposed to it. The Journal of the American Medical Association said,
not to mention the constant misleading of information. Not surprisingly, trusted media today is at its all-time lowest level in history. The same applies to politics. Detailed media coverage on politics has practically evaporated, and surprise, surprise, the consequences are a clown car disguised as a presidential election.
Honestly, even bonobos wouldn't vote these bozos into office. In summary, the media was once a diverse amalgamation of ideas, and now it's 6 pimps in an alleyway trying to steal your wallet and get you hooked on morphine. Back to you, Don.
That's the good stuff, Gnostic. Now, kids, after all that, you might be saying, Don, I don't really watch the news, so why should I care? Well, you myopic shit stain. A lot of people do watch the news, and more importantly, they vote. Do you think it's a coincidence that 2 pathological liars are running for president of the United States? Here are some things to keep in mind the next time you catch these bullshit artists pretending to be reporters. Number 1, assume all media sources have an agenda. In this day and age, if you still think mass media outlet isn't biased, you should get your fucking head checked. Number 2, the media's interests are not your own. Simply put, what they want isn't what you want. The media's intention is to mobilize the interests of the masses towards the interests of corporations. Media is primarily in the business of making money, and the way they do that is by garnering a larger and larger audience. And how do you hold the attention of 350 million people with piss-poor critical thinking skills? Nothing sells quite like blood, sex, and magic. Go Chili Peppers! Number 3, you're never given the entire story if the entire story doesn't sell. How many times have we found out that a sensational story told to us by the media later turned out to be false?
Go!
Or obscured? Or completely manipulated? It happens. Remember that the conflict of interest lies in advertising. Media companies aren't going to run negative stories about companies if it's going to threaten their bottom line. Number 4, everyone's got an axe to grind, even me. It's important to keep in mind that not only does each channel and media platform have an agenda to push, but so do their writers and reporters. While everyone's intentions are probably good, the consequences are that the ends always justify the means. And when the ends always justify the means, you can lie, manipulate, and label people in an effort to shut down discussion. It shouldn't be surprising that the only ones capable of governing the media outlets are the government. And guess who the government gets bribes and lobbies from?
Oh, good for you. And how was it?
That's right, the media companies. Oh yeah, it's an understood handshake. The media won't threaten the status quo and the government lets the media companies run amok. Kids, it then becomes our job not to only stop watching this bullshit, but to educate ourselves through various outlets, keeping in mind what we mentioned. Not only should we be reading and watching thought-provoking content, but we should also be consuming information that we don't agree with. If not for a balanced perspective, at the very least, to have a conversation with people that we don't agree with. But what the fuck do I know? I'm just a goofy puppet. But so are you if you're believing even half the bullshit the media's peddling. Remember, kids, like and subscribe, and we'll send Anderson Cooper and Don Lemon over to suck your dick. Trust me, they won't mind.